Hi everyone. Today we are honored to be joined by Talitha Oosthuizen, Mr. South Africa Second Princess 2026, an entrepreneur, adventurer, and passionate advocate. Beyond the crown, a journey with Bush Whisper, a leadership in business, and a courageous stand against human trafficking make a story both powerful and timely. We'll explore the realities behind national platforms, the moments that demand bold change, and how purpose evolves when responsibility grows. Delita, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. How are you?
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It's really a great opportunity. I'm doing very well, thank you, and yourself.
Awesome. Just trying to get used to the Durban hot heat after being in Cape Town. Although it's Cape Town is hot,
Oh,
but you have the wind, so that's kind of like confusing.
yes, but the humid in KZN is quite hectic.
Yeah, I actually landed back yesterday, and it was
Yeah.
well, I kind of
Ooh,
wish Durban had the wind.
yeah, a little bit of wind from Cape Town, and Cape Town a little bit of humidity.
That's crazy. But yeah, it's my honor to obviously have you, and yeah, I'll get the ball rolling. Winning
Perfect.
Mrs. Winning Mrs. SA Second Princess 2026 is a huge milestone. How has this title shifted your sense of responsibility and purpose beyond the crown?
It is. I mean, the whole journey was amazing, and winning winning the crown of second princess comes with a huge responsibility
Mm,
because now you've got people looking up to you, and not only just as new contestants but actually my family, my friends, um, people that I don't know at all that actually come up to me and say, wow, we followed your journey, it was amazing. So you don't even know who is watching you now, so there's a huge responsibility that surrounds that. But also now it gives me the opportunity to inspire, to talk to people, and I'm loving that. I'm loving that responsibility because now I can actually do what I said I'm going to do during my year of entering. And I can do that. It's allowing me to do that and to walk into my purpose and to fulfill my purpose and to leave that legacy. But with that, obviously, it is that responsibility. So it's a day-to-day choice that I make to say, listen, today I'm going to be responsible in with everything I do, and I want to do it with intention and with purpose.
that's really awesome. Your work with Bush Whisper reflects a deep connection to nature and adventure. How did that journey begin, and what has it taught you about leadership?
So my journey with Bush Whisper actually started in 2007,
Wow.
yeah, and my brother-in-law and myself are the two co-owners of Bush Whisper Expeditions.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's very interesting because it's a family-owned company, and we get along very well. So yes, we do have our fights, but we get over it very quickly and we
Oh,
move on. And the two of us get along so well. We adapt and we fill each other on. But uh, regarding leadership, because it's a business that I didn't have any history in. I'm not in the travel and tourism industry, but I had to become that person that's now a co-owner of a safari tourism company. So that taught me how to be resilient,
yeah.
how to start a company because I didn't know, how to start a company. What about financing, accounting,
Mm,
marketing? Even though I grew up in a household where my father was an entrepreneur, it's still skills that you have to learn yourself as you
mm,
go along. And that taught me that I had to go, and I actually went and studied accounting, a
okay.
diploma in marketing. Yeah, so you have to upskill yourself as well. But with being a leader, you have to show up. You have
Mm,
to be there and show your employees or your fellow staff members and your fellow partners that you are willing to grind, you are willing
yeah.
to go to the extra mile, and do stuff with them because not because you are a co-owner that you now think you are better than anybody else. No, you want to be part of their team as well. So it's about being a leader, but also being resilient, setting the example. And you need to know, and you also need to understand how to adapt as a leader as well, because the team that you start with is not necessarily the same team that we currently have. So you have to adapt, and you have to adapt with time and with seasons, especially like, during COVID, we had to adapt.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, the theme of our conversation is the art of the pivot. Can you share a moment when you had to radically change direction in your life or business?
Yeah, there was actually a few, but with Bush Whisper, talking about adapting and about COVID. So
Oh,
when our president announced that, our borders are closed, we had to stop our touring and safari company immediately because there was just no income. There was nothing. And because that's solely we are reliant on international clients that come on tour and safari with us. So we had to think out of the box. We had to pivot completely. And that's where we actually started with our clothing company, with the clothing side of Shweshwe, and making handbags and Shweshwe outfits. And we had a whole fashion show because we had to find a way of actually get an income and gain an income. So it was a 360 pivot that we had to do, but we were forced into it. But it was the best thing that happened to us because, again, we had to adapt, we had to think out of the box, and it gave us the opportunity to also help our fellow South Africans because we had to employ people. And now we're at this stage where we actually have an internship program. We're giving students the opportunity to come and work with us, to study with us, and we're giving them those skills as well. So definitely we had to pivot. I'm going to give you another example of where I personally, in my personal life, had to do a 360 pivot. When my father passed away in 2021, yeah, thank you. Due to COVID, I think COVID just changed everybody's lives. And some for the positive, some for the negative. For me, I'm like a little bit in between because my father passed away and that was devastating to me. And I immediately had to take over his company. And that was a mind shift of notes because now I'm in an industry, a male-dominated industry, because my father's company, B2 Projects, is a contractor for Eskom. So where that is two different worlds, being in the tourism industry and now being in construction and electricity. And I had to find myself in boardrooms with men where I had to fight for business. It was a lot of lessons that I had to teach myself, but also to become very resilient. But look where I am today. I mean, you pivot, you change, you adapt, you move on. And through all of that, you become stronger.
Yeah, I guess it always takes a dire situation to realize your inner greatness in terms of the resilience and that sort of stuff.
Absolutely. And your strengths.
Awesome. How do you balance the demands of public life with the realities of running a business behind the scenes?
For me, there's a saying that Jeff Bezos said, it's not about work-life balance, it's about work-life harmony. And I try that. I really try and harmonize everything because balancing it, then you do this, then you do that. Whereas you harmonize, everything flows into each other. And because it's a family-owned business, it has to, because I do come home and I do take work home. So for me, it's about harmonizing it. They need to sing together. It's almost like a song. And I found a way how to do it. It's still challenging, and I think it will forever be challenging because life changes. But and I've got a team at work that is amazing, especially during my year last year where I was very busy with being a contestant and Mrs. South Africa. So I had a team that were great. They stood in for me in so many ways, even with work, with challenges, with finances, with accounting, in every way. They came to the game. They were there, and I truly appreciate that they did that. And I'm very fortunate to have a team that encouraged me and supported me like the way they did.
Okay. But when you mention the harmonize section, do you mean like you get the family more involved in the work, or like how do you like
I
define the whole harmonize? Yeah.
Yeah, so for me it's harmonizing. So it's like everything in some or another way swishes into each other. It's not about family, but it's about my company and being at home and finding a way to make everything work together, instead of
Okay.
trying to balance everything.
Okay. Awesome. Many people see glamour in titles, but few see the grind. What are the unseen challenges of stepping into a national platform like Mrs. SA?
It challenges you on every level, because you have to think out of the box, and you have to challenge yourself, your inner self, because now you're suddenly on a platform where everybody sees you. You are on social media almost on a daily basis, where as you might not even have, when you entered, have had an Instagram profile or a Facebook profile, and now all of a sudden they tell you, listen, you have to have an Instagram, you have to have a Facebook. So now you have to teach yourself all of these skills.
Mm.
And that in itself was a challenge. Now they're asking us to do videos. Um,
Wow.
and yes, and now you're in this situation. You've never done a video before. You don't even know what you need. Do you need a ring light? Do you need what light? Do I need earphones? You don't have a clue where to start.
Cool.
But that is where you grow the most, because there's so many YouTube videos and skills that you can go and learn, not only just online, but if you go to ask your fellow contestants or ask people in the industry around you, that actually also gives you the chance to speak to other people, where you can collaborate and learn from one another. But there were so many challenges besides social media and putting yourself out there, because that's what we did. But there's days that you are being thrown into the deep end, and you have to learn to swim. Otherwise, you're going to drown. So, and that's what we had to do. We were thrown into the deep end. You learn how to swim, and you come out on the other side, and you look back and you think, wow, I actually did that, and I got through everything. And today I won the social media award
Wow.
at Mrs. South Africa. Yes, so it shows you that if there's a will, there's a way, and there is most definitely a way.
Of course. As an entrepreneur, how do you stay grounded and authentic while being constantly cr- visible and scrutinized?
For me, staying grounded is my family and my faith.
Hmm.
Those two I cannot go without. My family, they are the people that is the most honest with me, especially my husband. And you need somebody like that, because if you're going to go out and put yourself out there, it's his reputation as well, and it's my family's reputation, and it goes back to that responsibility that we talked about in the beginning. I'm standing not just for myself, but for them too. So if they see something that is now completely, she's doing something so weird, let's stop her and tell her. And even if
Yeah.
it might be hard, they have to say that to me. And that kept me grounded during the whole of last year, and not just as a contestant, but during my life. And my faith as well. If I've got a day that I'm just, out and dim, and my light is at a dim, and I don't have any energy, and I don't know where to go to, or where's the end of this tunnel, my faith, I go back to my faith, and I pray, and I just, I ask for guidance. And I'm so fortunate that I do have that, because so many people
Hmm.
don't. Um,
Well,
but those are the two that truly keeps me grounded and keeps me going.
it's good you mentioned about faith, because I feel that people, take it for granted in the sense that they just expect that they'll just get it by just asking God randomly. But at least in your case,
Yeah.
it's more genuine, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. Nothing's going to fall in your lap. You have to put in the effort, and even in your faith, you need to.
Awesome. What skills from entrepreneurship have helped you most in navigating pageantry and public leadership?
Being a leader, it taught me resilience, and being in a pageant, you have to have resilience.
That's true.
Um, yes, because stuff is being thrown at you, and
Yeah.
not just only challenges, but people. I mean, you get these nasty comments on
Mhm.
Instagram and Facebook, and you have to just, you brush
Have
them
a thick
off.
skin. Yeah.
But that
Mhm.
doesn't come naturally to everyone. So it teaches you to be resilient. And as a leader, you have to be that way as well. But it also taught me you have to work hard to get the results that you want. And being an entrepreneur, you have to do that. You can't
Mhm.
just sit on a chair and wait for everything to fall in your lap. That's not how it works. You have to put in the hours. You have to put in the hard work. You have
Mhm.
to go do your homework. You have to go study and see, okay, this is my client that I'm going to go and see. So what do I need to know? And it's the same with being a contestant. I had to represent sponsors. So I had to go do my homework with them. I had to see, okay, this is how I can align with them and do the best that I can for them. So the two for me went hand in hand. And now I can also see how me being a contestant and a second princess helps me in my business as well, which I'm so grateful for.
Was there a moment of self-doubt where you questioned whether you belonged in these spaces, and how did you push through it?
Oh, absolutely. There were days that I was thinking, and I'm talking now specifically about Mrs. South Africa. There were days that I was thinking, oh my goodness, why did I do this? Why did I enter? I don't know where to go to. And there were days that I was crying, but then my husband was there and he picked me up and said, no, 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 you entered, come on. But those days of self-doubt, and they come. I mean, it's
Oh,
natural. We are human beings. It happens. But those are the days that you dig deep and you go have that silent moments. And when I have my silent moments, I speak to God. And I just find that something, that inner strength within me, and that kept me going. But you have to dig deep, and you also have to believe in
oh.
yourself and your self-worth.
Mhm.
And we as women tend to always think that we are not good enough. We are just a woman. We are just a mother. We are just even just an entrepreneur. We are just a housewife. We are just a child, a daughter. But we're not just that. We are so much more. But we need to
Oh,
believe that within ourselves, and we need to always remind ourselves that we are stronger than we think we are. So in those days of self-doubt, go dig deep and go find your strength and your inner light within you. And there's a saying that
mhm.
comparison is the thief of joy, and it truly is.
Wow,
So yeah, it's not worth it.
that's so profound. For women watching who feel torn between ambition and personal life, what advice would you give about embracing seasons of growth and change?
Yeah, so it is a challenge in itself, but you need to go and find what brings those two together. Because if you are an entrepreneur and if you have a personal life, obviously you've chosen both. So how are you going to harmonize these two together? And that is something that you need to do in yourself. So what I always do is I do a vision board, and
Mhm.
I have my personal life and I have my business life, but then I have another vision board where I mix the two together. Because if you don't, you tend to lose yourself in either one. So either you're going to lose yourself in your business and your personal life is going to lag behind, or you're going to be just all about personal life and your business is going to lag behind. But you have to find a way to mix the two together and harmonize them. And that's why I love the word harmonizing instead of balancing, because now
Oh,
everything, if the balance is out, everything is out. But there's
mm,
also seasons of growth and seasons of where you might in your thrive in your personal capacity or thrive in your business capacity, but the one cannot go without the other, and you learn from both of them and they intertwine. But yeah, for women out there, you have to try and find that harmony between the two. So go do your vision boards. That really helped me.
Before I get to my final two questions, are you okay if I ask you a comment question here from the viewer?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Right. Awesome. This is from Justin Rishika. Hi, Talitha. You are strong, beautiful, and love your confidence. Do you prefer the safari business or the electrical business? And with all of that, still taking to the stage and being a contestant?
I enjoy both because they are so very different, and both have aspects where I can learn from. So on the safari side, it's very adventurous. I can be creative and I can develop. Whereas the electrical side of the company it's very intellectual, and I have to upskill myself. So the two also, again, it goes hand in hand. So I can use what I've got in my safari company, the creative side, and I can bring that into my beauty project side, the electrical side. And I can start thinking out of the box, how to be creative in this industry of being in a dominated male world and stand out and be encouraging to them as well. Whereas in my beauty side, it taught me all of these skills, valuable skills that I would have never had if I wasn't thrown into the deep end, where I can use that now in my safari company of how to take everything accountable for what I'm doing. So yeah, I love both because there's aspects of both that I can now interlink with one another, which I absolutely love. And I wouldn't have had it if COVID didn't happen and if life didn't happen,
Awesome. Looking ahead, how do you envision using your platform to create long-term impact beyond the pageant world?
Yes. After I was crowned Mrs. South Africa, doors opened up for me. And I must say, I wouldn't have probably been on this YouTube live with you if I didn't have a crown. So opportunities opened up for me, but it's also, am I going to take that opportunity or am I not? Is the boat going to pass me or am I going to climb in? And I stood for human trafficking during my year as a contestant, and I really want to leave that legacy behind of the purpose for why I entered. I want to be a voice for people who has experienced injustice, and I experienced injustice as a child. And to have had that experience, I can talk out of experience, and it makes it real and it makes it authentic. And I want to take that forward. And then also being a social media award winner, I want to teach other people and other young people, children even, the safety of social media, but how you can use it in your business as a woman, because I think it's important for us as women also to upskill ourselves in social media, but also in the workplace, because you don't always necessarily have to have a company to do that. You can do it yourself. So I also want to do workshops and upskill other people to be able to do this. But I want to leave that legacy of a voice, of being a voice of reasoning, and standing up for what I believe is true and what I believe is right. And I'm also going to be doing Everest Base Camp at the end of February, because I'm an adventurer and I love, I've done bungee jumping, I've summited Kilimanjaro. So we are doing now Everest Base Camp at the end of this month. And I'm doing it for the fight against human trafficking, for anti-poaching, because that is what I said I'm going to do, and I'm doing it. And I want to continue doing that during my reign.
It's nice that you mentioned about human trafficking, because that was actually my last question. Okay. Human trafficking is an issue many people shy away from, yet you've chosen to confront it head on. What moved you to take a stand against human trafficking, and how has this cause shaped your work and sense of purpose?
I don't think people talk enough about it, and it's a reality in our own country. It's not just happening overseas. I mean, the Epstein case that's on now, it's horrifying to see what has happened there. but it happens in our own country. There was about a few weeks ago, there were 10 boys that were found in a actually very close to where I'm staying, but it's in Joburg, and they didn't have passports on them, and they were trafficked into our country. Luckily, one came out and he could go and get some help, but that's the reality of what's happening in South Africa. And South Africa is not only just a hub, it's a transport country. So traffickers would come in our country, traffickers would go out our country, but then also they physically are in our country. And because I've experienced injustice as a child, this was very important to me, because the two go hand in hand. Whereby a trafficker would see a child as vulnerable because whatever situation happened to him or her, and it's an easy target. So now, because they are vulnerable, but they see this person now as, ooh, I can find this is a place of safety for me, without knowing what this actually is. And then they are being exploited. And trafficking is also not just being trafficked out of a place, it's also being exploited online. And that's why, for me, talking about the safety of social media is also so important, because that goes hand in hand with human trafficking as well. But to give you a bit of stats, in South Africa, 250,000 people are being exploited annually. And 1 in every 5 girls and 1 in every 14 boys are being exploited. And that's horrific stats. But people don't know about it because they don't talk about it, because it's a topic that is very difficult to talk about, and you don't want to realize and say, "Ooh, this is actually happening in our country." No, we just put it under the carpet and say, we don't want to talk about it. But that is exactly why I said, and why I chose the fight against human trafficking, because someone needs to stand up and talk about it. And why not, as a Mrs. South Africa second princess, I have this platform, I can use my voice.
You mentioned about injustice. Are you okay talking a little about it?
I cannot, because I don't want to implicate the persons that actually that's happened, because these people are still alive and they've got families.
Okay. Oh, I see. All right, no problem. Okay, well, I got to say, thanks so much for your time. It was my pleasure having you on the live chat, and hope to have many more with you in the future.
Thank you so very much. What I can say to you, though, is as a person that I've experienced injustice, there was a ripple effect, and I can talk about that. I can say to you that I had an eating disorder, because I know people that is listening will be able to resonate with me, because when you go through something like that, you tend to don't know where you find yourself now, and you have to have some way of getting these emotions out of you. Even though I went to psychiatrists and I had help, there was still something within me that it needed to come out, and my form was an eating disorder, which was very hard. But thankfully, and thanks to my family and my faith, I am, I'm 100% healthy. But yes, if there's any of your guests, if they've got any questions regarding that as well, they can contact me.
Awesome. Once again, thanks so much for your time, and let's keep in touch, eh?
We will most definitely keep in touch, and thank you for this opportunity. I truly appreciate it.
You're most welcome.